Very good afternoon and welcome to the home of football. We are back at Molineux, the Golden Palace, for Wolverhampton Wanderers against Brentford this afternoon. I'm Mikey Burrows. You might be able to see alongside me is the Hall of Famer, Mr. Andy Thompson, and joining us, surely a future Hall of Famer, former Wolves women defender Claire Hakeman is here too. It is an important game for Bruno's side this afternoon. Got off to winning ways last time out against Watford. Got some goals as well. We hope that will continue today and finally get the first goals here at Molineux under Bruno, and a big 3 points as well. It is the first top flight meeting between these two since 1947. And yes, I'm going to do that joke as I always do. Tomo, tell us all about it.
But like I say, it's going to be a good game this afternoon, I think. So Brentford have played really well in the fixtures coming up to this. But again, same as us, similar. No results as such, apart from that game last week where we played really well again. Own goal. I don't care how they come. You can say it's our first goal, so we take that. But yeah, so I think the performances have probably warranted a lot more than the points that we've had.
Do you get confidence, Claire? Is there a different type of confidence from performance and result?
Yeah, I think so. I think the performances have been there, haven't they, from probably the second half of the Leicester game. I think the boys have really pushed on and performance levels have been immense. I think the fans have been fully behind what's been happening, the amount of chances we've created. But I think just the confidence of getting that 3 points just is almost the thing that we needed to push on now, and try and let's go on an unbeaten run and hopefully get a win today.
It's that element, though, isn't it, Tomo, of, you need confidence, and confidence allows you to play in a certain way almost. And yet we saw from the start this season that so-called Bruno ball has been able to play in a certain style. But do you need a confidence that comes from results to enable that to continue longer term?
Of course you do. I think that the results are everything as well. So look, okay, we've played really well in the games before our victory last week. But sooner or later, if you don't get that victory, then you start to doubt yourself a little bit, thinking what we're missing, why aren't we getting the results? We're putting in the performance on the pitch and we're not getting the right results. And look, and you will start to look at it and question yourselves. I think ironic last week that we got an actual own goal to be our first goal of the season, but you take anything you can. And again, I just thought the performance last week, because we thought it was going to be a difficult game, but I thought that we did really well in that game against Watford. So they had a decent record at home as well. The previous games that we played with Leicester, Tottenham and Man United, I thought that we've had the majority of the game, more than enough chances to score. But it was always going to be something like that where it was going to get us off the mark. So yeah, so it was good to get it, but you need those results to happen.
Well, hopefully there is going to be a result here today. A couple of narrow 1-0 defeats here in the Premier League so far this season. We will talk more about what needs to happen to make sure they get over the line in terms of getting the result and, frankly, scoring a goal here this season very shortly. But Wolves against Brentford, a match which we haven't seen too much of in recent times. Gemma Frith has this match in context.
We are back at Molineux to host newly promoted Brentford in today's early kickoff. We actually haven't faced the Bees in the top flight since 1947, a game that ended in a disappointing 4-1 loss. But 74 years on, and we have a much better record against the West London side. We are unbeaten in our last 4 meetings with Brentford in the Championship, the most recent of which ended in a 3-0 victory, featuring a lovely free kick from a certain Mr. Ruben Neves. It'd be amazing to see that here again today in front of a home crowd after we secured our very deserved first victory in the Premier League last time out. And don't forget, if you'd like to see what the team have been up to behind the scenes at Compton this week, head over to Twitter and Facebook, where I had a chat with Nelson Semedo, which you can see exclusively in this week's roundup.
Gemma Frith at pitchside. That Nelson Semedo chat is well worth a watch. As Gemma mentioned, first Premier League winner of the season last weekend. Here's the best of the action from Watford. Oh, nice skills from Trincao. 25 yards from goal. Trincao having a go. Well saved by Backman, low to his left-hand side. Back wide to Sarr again. Now Sissoko once more through the legs of Marçal, and Ismaila Sarr, and what a chance that is. Joshua King sliding in and completely missed it. 1 minute being added on. It's a brilliant ball by Trincao to Semedo. It's the penalty area and it's saved again. And parried behind by Bachmann. Traore on the charge. Skipping away from a couple of challenges, getting towards the byline, lifts his cross to the far post. It's a header from Jimenez and it's well saved. It's from Trincao in the end. Martinho now plays it low across to Kilman. Jimenez ahead of him. Jimenez with the flick. Here's Semedo, it's the penalty area. Nelson Semedo puts it wide. Jean Martinho stepping up now, trying to dink it in towards the near post, headed goalwards and wide again. Left-footed cross, bouncy, it's in! It's in, it's an own goal, but it doesn't matter. Wolves have finally got it into the back of the net, and for the first time of asking in the Premier League this season, Wolves have got themselves a goal, and it's Marçal getting the credit. It's Watford 0, Wolves 1. Semedo, time to set himself. Low one in towards Podence. Podence beats his man, chips it towards the far post. Has to be. It's scrambled in, surely over the line. It's definitely in now, and it's a debut goal for Hee Chan Hwang. Watford 0, Wolves 2. Lovely move, lifted to the far post. The scramble was there. Hee Chan Hwang provided the finishing touch. So a big performance and a big result. Arguably, Tomo, actually the worst performance that we've seen from them this season, and yet because they've set such high standards, it wasn't a bad performance. That's not what we're saying. Yeah. But it's funny the way football works sometimes, where arguably and statistically they had much more efforts on goal and were much more attacking against Spurs and Man United and lost the game, and then went to Watford and did enough and got the victory.
Yeah, it is. And you look at the goals that were scored. They said the own goal, scrappy, headed in, but also as well Wang's goal at the end there, which again wasn't a massive finish, but it's important. And look, so all the chances that we've had, the one-on-ones, the crosses, the headers, the shots, the Saiss effort here, what we had against Man United, you just look at that and you're thinking you're looking at a good goal. But I'll tell you what, I'm just looking at the replay again, you'll take anything. And that's what happened last week, where he probably wasn't our best performance. Still played well, don't get me wrong, because I thought Watford were a good side, it was decent. But it's just getting out that victory and getting, I don't care how it comes, we needed it.
It's that element as well, though, Claire. You just saw it there. Hwang provides something a little bit different to some of the other forward players. Maybe a little bit Jota-esque in that he will pop up in between the posts where maybe Trincao, Adama, Podence, that's not their natural game.
Yeah, he loves scoring goals, doesn't he? He's got that raw pace to get past people, and looking at the clips of him in training this week, clear pace to get past defenders, tidy finishing. So I think he'd be a real threat. And if you look at the options that we do have with Podence as well, and obviously Fabio Silva, it's just another person to add to the goals, and that's really the little bit we've been missing from all the chances we've created, just somebody else to be a little bit more clinical.
And Claire, as you mentioned, real strength from the bench. I mean, there were players like Dendoncker and Bolly who weren't involved and haven't been involved for a couple of weeks. That's how strong this squad is now.
Yeah, and I think Bruno's spoken about how he wants the squad to be competitive, to have good players in every position and backups. And if the work rate and the work ethic's not there, and maybe one game it's not working, he's got changes to make. And there's people off the bench that can really do a job. And we've had obviously Kilman come to the front, and he's keeping obviously Willy Bolly out the side. It's fantastic, isn't it? That we were looking last season where we were saying we didn't have a lot to come off the bench, and now we're saying the opposite. And we've got lots of options and lots of different ways that Bruno can change the game for us.
Yeah, lots of different options. We'll talk through them in just a second. Don't forget, as ever, you can get in touch and have your say. Use the hashtag WolvesLive to get in touch with us here on Matchday Live Extra. And remember, the three of us will be here for full, live, uninterrupted radio commentary available on the Wolves app and at wolves.co.uk. Let's take a look at the side that Bruno has selected to take on Brentford today. And it is unchanged, Tomo, from the lineup for the last couple of matches. And we talk about some of the options that we've had in there. It is a very strong bench, but in terms of those who are starting, that back three of Max Kilman, Connor Cody and Romain Saiss has been so strong that it is keeping Willy Bolly out of the team at the minute.
Well, you look at it as well. I know we lost those first 3 games, but only by that 1 goal. And apart from that, they've defended pretty well. And you just look at the quality that they've got. I think Kilman's done exceptional there. He's played really well. We saw that on the back of last year. I thought when he came into the side last year, I thought you saw glimpses about what he's done. And he's done exactly the same this year. And Bolly's come back from injury, and he's keeping him out. And you look at the quality of what we've got. Dendoncker as well, who could play that back. And there's some players out there, and we said healthy competition. That's what the squad need, and that's what they've got.
Claire, we just saw them there. Wang, Dendoncker, Bolly. You're only as good as the substitutes that you have to come on and change it. But from the point of view of those starting, the midfield too, a lot of discussion at the start of the season as to whether Neves and Moutinho could play together. Have they answered that now? Is that question done and dusted?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've had a superb start to the season, both of them. I mean, Neves has been something else. The consistency of his performances, his ball retention, the way that they both win the ball back in there, they're breaking up everything. And I think the performances of the wing-backs and the 3 at the back have also let them be released a little bit to go forward. And it's been nice to see Neves pushing on a little bit as well.
Yeah, Tomo, are we seeing something slightly different from the pair of them? Is that why they're kind of suddenly able to play together, if that makes sense?
Look, there's no doubt about the quality. I know you got the question over whether or not they could play in there, but they prove the people wrong about the way that they play, the energy, what they've brought into it as well, because that's what they look at. They look at his age, Moutinho's age, and whether or not he can sustain it. And look, at some time, because of this season, he's going to need a rest probably in there. But we've got the quality where we can give a rest. But the 2 of them at the minute are playing exceptionally well together. Neves is playing that little bit more advanced, which I think has helped his game as well. But there's no doubt in the quality of the 2 players that are in there. And like you say, the games that they've played also already, they've done really well.
We will talk more, of course. That man celebrating 5 years at the football club this week. What a servant he has been. Second longest servant still left at the football club behind Conor Cody. And what a character he has been as well. We will celebrate him as we close down towards kick-off. Romain Saiss, 5 years a Wolf. What a journey it has been for him. And he continues to defy some of those who think that he maybe wasn't worth his starting place at the start of the season. Romain Saiss continuing in the back 3 with Conor Cody and with Max Kilman as well. So Brentford the opponents then this afternoon, this Saturday lunchtime here at Molineux. Bruno Lage was facing the press this week, and he knows exactly how tough that they are going to be here today.
And just a final one from me on Brentford. They're also a side that like to press and hassle opponents. Do you see Wolves and Brentford as having 2 similar styles?
Yeah, different. Some things are different. Some things are similar. So what I can see from them, they have a work with a good base. So they have 2 or 3 years in the good work, and we can see they dominate a lot of things. They can see they know how to start from the back. They know how to link the games, how to find the space between liners, the lines, how to create problems to the other team. And when they lose the ball, they are very strong and compact, and they like to press. So what I can see from them, that's it. So we should be tomorrow in our best, because they are a strong, competitive team, and they come with a buzz of work with, I think, 2 or 3 years, what they did before in the championship, and now the way they start the competition. For sure, tomorrow will be a good game.
Bruno Lage speaking at his pre-match press conference. It is going to be an interesting battle today. OJ says Adama, Jimenez and Neves to score. He's gone for 3-0. Simon says he thinks it's starting to come together. 3-0 from him as well. Dave Powell says Bruno has made us the most exciting team to watch in the Premier League. Who needs superstar players when you have such a great team spirit? Brentford, Tomo, epitomise team spirit. It's been a while since we played them.
Yeah.
It was a couple of seasons ago. We'll see that in a second. But they'll be a very different proposition to the one we last met in the Championship a few seasons ago.
Yeah, of course. He's added a few players to the squad and what they've done. But what they have done, they've had a different format of what they do at selecting players. They do a little bit more research, an orthodox way of doing it, but it's worked for them. But again, you touched something earlier on about team spirits and having that understanding about what you want. So you got Thomas Franklin, the manager of Brentford, who's instilled this kind of mentality into his side. Attractive football as well, what they play to get out of the division. And so I'm looking forward to an interesting game today. But look, it's going to be tough, but I think that we've got the quality to win the game today.
Well, you can see that Wolves had the attacking quality. Wolves were the free-throwing team a couple of seasons ago, Claire. It's almost as if Brentford watched this and kind of felt like that's what you have to do to get out of the Championship now, is to play in the manner that Wolves did under Nuno.
Yeah, definitely. I think they did a great job getting up, and it was their second attempt, so I think they really had to work hard for it as well. I think Brentford, they don't concede many goals. I think their XG for goals against is one behind Man City, so in terms of that, we've got all-out attack, and they're very good defensively, so it'll be an interesting matchup today.
Yeah, that's the interesting difference, isn't it? They've been Championship's top scorers for the last two seasons, and yet this season only Norwich have had fewer shots than them. They seem to have completely kind of changed and been much harder to beat, which is not necessarily a bad thing in the Premier League, as we've seen in the last couple of years. To get a foothold in this division, you maybe have to be a bit more pragmatic. But today, Tomo, that suggests to everyone who looks at stats, and you know I love stats, Claire clearly loves stats because she's talking about XG. Tomo don't know what XG is, it's fine. But today, the expectation is for Wolves to go out there and roll them over. It's not always that easy.
No, it's not. And as you said there, we was free-flowing in the Championship where we scored all those goals, similar to what Brentford were doing. But you know, in this division, you've got to try and keep clean sheets. You've got to try and stop the goals. So we've done pretty well so far this year. We spoke about our defensive record, about the goals that we conceded, just by that odd goal that we've lost the games. But overall, I think that we've defended well, and that's what you've got to do. If you're going to win anything in this division or get up towards that top half of the table, you're going to have to defend well. We've never been prolific goal scorers in the Premier League, so like we've always been low goal scorers. But what we have done, we've not let much in, and that's what you've got to do in this league. If you're going to win the game 1-0, you make sure that you keep it tight at the back, and that's what you've got to do. And I think that we've established that already this season. A little bit different last year, where we seemed to be always chasing the game, always going that goal down, and that let us down a little bit. But I think this season that we've played well, we've defended well as a team. That was the main thing for me as well. It wasn't just about the lads at the back. A new keeper for this year as well in Sarr. But I think as a team, we have made it difficult for teams to break us down.
Claire, where is the key battle for you today? Who's going to be the key performer to step up and win the game?
I think we've just got to keep doing what we've been doing. We've created so many chances, so I think that front three combination of Trincao and Adama and Jimenez, I think it'd be great to see Jimenez get on the score sheet today, wouldn't it? I mean, his all-round play has been superb. His work ethic is there. I think he just needs a goal to get off the mark. The way he set up Semedo last week for his chance at Watford that he possibly should have put away. I think there's just lots more to come from him. And I think one goal could be our trigger point here today, but we know that they're going to keep it tight at the back, but they want to keep it 0-0 as long as they can. I think their Brighton game last game, they conceded in the 90th minute, so they were probably a minute away from being unbeaten coming to us. So we know that they're going to be a difficult team to break down. So let's see what that front three can do.
Yeah, got to score early, Tomo, if they can do, just to settle themselves down. It's actually not been a regular part of our play, scoring in the first half of matches, and you know my stats about conceding first as well. So if they can get themselves in front, maybe it'll just settle them down to play with a rhythm.
Well, it is a bit of time as well. So look, the home crowd haven't seen them win a game here this season so far. I know it's still early days, but that's what you want to see. You want to see your team score goals, win games, and as you said about your stats about like always going behind, never winning a game. But when we do get ourselves in front, we're hard to beat, and that's going to be the thing today. And making sure that we're professional at the back, but also as well clinical at the front, I think that Jimenez is going to break his duck today. Fingers crossed.
Okay, bold from you. What's your score prediction? What are you going for?
I'm confident today. 3-1 I'm going to have. I know you spoke about their defence being good and tight at the back, but I fancy us today. I fancy us on the back of how we played recently in the games that's going up to this. Okay, wasn't an exceptional game last week. Still played well. Got scrappy goals, but I think we're going to actually score some good goals today. I've just been watching some of the finishing from some of the Wolves lads, and Marcel's put one in the top corner. Neves has done the same to the opposite. Things to come.
20 seconds, Claire Hakeman, what are you thinking?
I did 3-1 with Gemma pre-game, so I can't do that now. I'm going to go Tom as usual and go for 2-1.
Okay, 2-1 from
what
the two
are you going to go
for? I'm more pragmatic, as you well know. I will go for a lovely 1-0 win, and that will do. Maybe more, who knows? Could it be 3 or 4? It'll be an incredible occasion if it is. And as I say, we are celebrating 5 years of Romain Saiss. So what better way to finish as we count down to kick-off than looking back on one of his famous days in an old gold shirt. We'll see you for the commentary on the Wolves app and the Wolves website in the next couple of minutes. Here's Romain Saiss's On This Day from the archives.
Unfortunately, I can't remember what Nuno said because I was almost sleeping on the pitch. I was completely dead. I just closed my eyes for a couple of minutes. I remember some players coming, but they tried to talk to me, but I was focused on have a good sleep before to stand up. I remember this game. It was a long time now. It was an important game because we are fighting for the promotion with Middlesbrough. We played really well. It was a really tough game because we played with only 9 players at the end. At the full time I was dead. Really dead because I remember this week it was a game just after an international break, and I didn't play the second game with my national team because I was ill in the national team. I spent maybe 2 or 3 days in my bedroom with 40 degrees of fever, and when I came back to the training ground, I have a quick chat with the gaffer, and I said to him, I'm not feeling at 100%. I was expecting to play 60, maximum 70 minutes, but unfortunately with the two red cards, I have no choice to finish the game. And at the end, the last 20-15 minutes, I start seeing stars around me, and I just go down after the game because I have no more power. It was really hard to finish this game, and I think it was one of the worst games for me in terms of fatigue. But I'm happy because I finished the game and we won this game, so it was the most important.